Welcome. I'm the Hood Mystic, representing www.hoodmystic.com. And today I want to talk about Esoteric Astrology 101, a psychological approach to astrology, part 1 to our Alchemy University series, where we'll just discuss how to bring esoterics and spiritual concepts and formulate them into our own worlds and capture our own narratives. And today, I just want to explain the purpose of esoteric astrology, realizing that there are different forms of astrology, whether it's mundane, Vedic, Western, 13 sign astrology. It's very important for you as an individual to understand your chart. And also, I'll discuss my new workbook that helps you understand how you personally fit within this universal narrative. The only thing that's required while listening to this video is a pen and paper, because this allows you to be engaged and focused on the conversation at hand. Without it, your mind can easily wander. So please find a comfortable place where you're not bothered to really focus in on the conversation that we're about to have. I have 10 slides that I'll talk about for close to 2 minutes apiece. Check my page. It might be live somewhere else. Okay. So peace to everyone. The purpose of this conversation is to help you utilize your inner navigation system. We'll be referencing the esoteric form of astrology, which represents your inner. And astrology simply represents a star that is a simple corresponding factor to your personal journey. And this is very different from looking inside of yourself with x-rays or MRIs. We don't really have access to that equipment. So the best way to understand our inner dialogue is to observe the stars, because the stars serve as a reflection for our inner world, okay? Understanding that we do have an inner world is very important. So let us just look at what a star represents. A star represents an individual identity that radiates light and energy. A star has a unique perspective, but it still moves in order with other stars. There is a order to how stars move, even though they have an individual identity. Stars rely on themselves to produce their light. They're self-luminous. They derive their power from within and not from an outside source. So we have the ability to bring that power from within us and become self-luminous. We just have to understand how to do that, because stars, like ourselves, are constantly in motion, yet we do interact with the gravitational pulls from other stars and other planetary influences. How your family members make you feel, how your spouse makes you feel, how certain cities and states they make you feel. These are correspondences to how the stars interact. So we could learn a lot about our personal lives by conferring to the stars. So in conclusion, The study of astrology is the study of your divinity and your sovereignty. Your divinity meaning your divine power, your sovereignty representing your ability to rule and take control over your lives. There is a saying by Aleister Crowley, which in the Book of the Law states that every man and every woman is a star. And what he means by this, he goes on to say, love under will. So love plus will equals a star. A star is not told what to do, for a star knows what to do. And this is represented as pure will. Pure will represent a deep knowing of knowing what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, in complete honesty, in complete alignment with your truth. And this represents perfection, and we all have access to perfection. The reason that we do not access our perfection is because we are plagued with the reason of things in the mind. And these things have been given to us since we were children. Our star selves, our higher selves, represents our perfection, which is unlimited and infinite, meaning even before we were born in this lifetime, our perfected self has existed. And our consciousness, if directed towards that perfected self, will ultimately raise you up without a shadow of a doubt. Every man and every woman is a star. The ability to will things into existence and love is your birthright. And so this speaks into sovereignty. You, throughout your whole life, you have created things and willed things into existence. Now we are doing it consciously based upon astrology. So to break it down even further, a star could mean our creative, our sentient, our deep individual, our most noble and most sublime, our most free, independent, all shining and glorious self. And each one of us has a world, a amazing, vast, celestial world within us, but we don't particularly study it. So this is where astrology comes in, because it is that study of the micro and macro cosmic relationship in real time. In this moment, you get to see where the sun, Venus, Mars, Uranus, Pluto, and all of these celestial beings are. And we find that what they symbolize are things within our human journey that can help us move forward. The thing that astrology does is that it helps us resolve our psychological tension. We have a human side, the humanity that is structured out of the reason and the mind, and then we have the divinity, which is perfect, unlimited, and infinite. And these two sides of us, they play tug of war with each other. The way that we resolve this tension is through love, is through astrology, by dealing with our expansion, dealing with our larger magical self. We tend to not fight, but come together. While in our humanity, within our reason, within our mind, we deal with our selfishness, which is contracting us, which is isolating us, which is putting us into a perpetual tug of war. Because the thing of the soul, the thing of the star, is that it will make itself be known in your life. And this is what causes the tug of war, because we are not aware of that divine, unlimited divinity, sovereignty that rests within us, because we are not studying it. We are not dealing with it day to day. Day to day, we're dealing with other things. So when it comes to love, when it comes to understanding, I find that this quote is very important. He who loves lives, and he who is selfish is dying. Love for love's sake. And I surmise this as the same way that we wake up and we breathe to live, one should learn to love to live in the same manner. Loving should be breathing. Correspondence. Correspondence is another way that we work through the divination system, which is called astrology. In the workbook, it is teaching you how to understand the higher celestial beings as a reflection to you. So the more that you deal with the higher consciousness, the more that you integrate it into your consciousness. As you deal with the stars deal with you. A correspondence is a close similarity, connection, or equivalence. So in the workbook, you are motivated or pushed to create your own language surrounding astrology, and not simply reading it off the internet and trying to apply another person's definition to your understanding. That does not equate to equivalence. If you find Mars to be the planet of sex and you read of it to be the planet of action, you might have a misunderstanding. So it's very important to understand it for yourself, gain an equivalence. So when you ponder upon these things, you ponder upon it in a higher light, in a divine light, because our outer world is a reflection of our inner world. We have to understand that astrology falls under the realms of universal law. So as within, so without, as above, so below could be specifically talking to astrology, because there aren't too many systems that deal with time and space in the realms of how they relate to us today as astrology does. Our current reality is always a mirror of what's going on within us. So if we're able to understand our astrology, we're able to direct the energy for the outside world as well. That's kind of why we want to direct our attention to this. The issues that come about in studying astrology is found in the lust for result. We must develop a peace within ourselves to develop a perspective of non-attachment. When you're attached to results, you are bound to those results. And this ties back into pure will and the recognition of a star. If we understand that we are already perfect and we're attached to that idea, then there are no results to wish for. For the result is in this moment of understanding our divine selves. So in that space, astrology becomes a complete psychological adjustment, because psychological is referred to the etymological word, the study of the soul. And once we start to study the soul, our life becomes a symbol for something. We create little figurines for the board game that we're playing, and we control the board game now, as opposed to us being little pieces in this world and being controlled by quote unquote hierarchies and quote unquote sovereign folks. We are the sovereign and we are the hierarchy. And we just have to create the proper symbols and structures that are consistent with the self. If we're online reading about what these things mean to other people, then we take it outside of ourselves once again. And this is much different from psychological maladjustment or the lack of the study of the soul, because you would look at these dreams that you have, these experiences that you're experiencing as mere coincidences, as things to be overlooked, and you will just continue on having the lust for a result. So psychological adjustment simply means that we're creating a soul for ourselves. We're making the adjustment to study the soul versus not adjusting to study the soul and just hoping for things to be better for ourselves. The perspective that I'm using for the book in the Alchemy University astrology coursework is taken from the Geocentric model. And the geocentric model is different from the scientific model because the scientific model states that everything revolves around the sun. The geocentric model states that everything revolves around the earth. And both of these things are true, but we are thinking of an abstracted form that best suits us as individuals. And if everything is revolving around the sun, then we're revolving around the sun, then we now have to give our power to the sun. But if we become the observer on earth, looking at how these things rotate around us, then that gives us a better perspective and a deeper understanding. The earth then becomes an anagram for the heart. And this becomes our observation deck. We observe all things from the heart, because knowledge of the heart gives you true insight. The knowledge that you have in your heart is not found in any book, any teacher, or any web page. The knowledge of the heart grows from you like a seed. Now, one might not be familiar with the knowledge of the heart, but it grows like a seed, and it grows from correspondence. It grows from repetition. It grows from meditations. The heart chakra in Vedic understanding is called the anahata, or the unstricken, meaning the purest form that rests within the human body. This is the subtle vibration of the energy that has created the cosmos, that has gotten to your pure will. This is what has gotten you to this place. And it could be found in meditations of a simple Om mantra. To simply connect to your heart. Om will connect you to your heart, and you will begin to create the energy that you desire. And the only way to get to this particular place is to balance your lower chakras. And once your heart chakra awakens, you're able to begin to reach out into the world and touch the world and give the proper impact. But you have to first understand that knowledge of the heart grows from you like a seed, and it comes from observation. And this observation, what are you observing? You could observe the stars. So simply, what is astrology then? Astrology is spiritual inspiration and altruistic love. It is giving you a clear understanding of what's going on plainly. It's not giving you a pretty version. It's not giving you a cookie cutter version. It's going to tell you the oppositional first forces. It's going to tell you the squares. It's going to tell you things that are not in harmony. And this is perfect because it gives you a idea of what you need to do for yourself. As opposed to working with the ego, imagining yourself to be perfect and just expecting things. So we have to begin to work with the ego, to begin to teach the ego, to begin to learn the ego. And the only way that we could teach the ego at this point is by using our own words and own understandings to understand celestial ideas. And once you understand these understandings in the mind, to bring them down to the heart, to begin to act them out, now you have a connection of the astrological self and the ego, because you understand this, and now you're embodying it, and now you're acting it out, and now you understand that you're not just simply acting out of the ego, you're getting tips and advice from your higher self, and you're not praying and wishing and going to church to find it. You're just simply studying your astrology to know what you need to do. And since we're working with esoteric astrology, the understanding is simply we will change our outer world by realizing our inner world. Simple, cut and dry. But simple is not easy. This is why you need to study it for yourself and be repetitive about it. Now, I put together a workbook. The link is in the description. There's also a Kindle edition, but there's also a paperback that you could get. I advise that you get the paperback because you'll be able to write in it. You'll be able to use your hand, use your mind. There's appendix attached in the book, so you don't have to look online for things. You can look online, but you don't have to. I felt that this workbook would be important because it will help you formulate the keywords and put together a language that you'll understand, and that it will give you actions that you need to do, as opposed to reading astrology on the internet and they could be talking about a police officer, a lawyer, a trash man, a whole slew of things that have nothing to do with you. So you need to understand how important it is to chart this out for yourself. If your goal is to learn astrology, you need to figure out how to use your language and not astrology's. With this book, you'll be able to map out your 9 planets and its corresponding aspects using this workbook. And you'll notice as you're crafting out, especially if you're being honest about it, using the sextiles, using the squares, using the oppositions, you'll figure out the psychological tension in your chart. I did an example worksheet in the book, and you can see my psychological tension in my chart. Like, you can see it clear as day. I seen it for myself. So this book is for beginners. This book is for people who've been studying astrology for years, because even we have been studying astrology in other people's words. So this book and books are going to be paramount in us creating a narrative and language for ourselves. With this book, you're able to create affirmations that are aligned with the astrology in your chart. You are online seeking affirmations from people who have not lived your life and don't have anything to do with your spiritual makeup, but you want to say their affirmations, or creating affirmations that have nothing to do with your life path. You figure out your life path by figuring out the energy that you have in Sagittarius. But you don't necessarily know what Sagittarius mean unless you create your own language surrounding it. And this workbook can help you with that. From there, after you get a hang of it, you learn your chart, then you might want to know about your boyfriend's chart or your wife's chart. Now you have the modality and the information in the mind to do that. You might want to study your children's chart. You might want to study your family's chart. You might want to study your friend's chart. This book can help you do that. Overall, what I'm trying to do with this workbook, what I'm trying to do with this content is to help you learn you. I find that people know everything about everything else, but when it comes to them, they have not the slightest. They don't know. And understand that I'm going to make many different workbooks. Many different workbooks. But if you don't have this workbook, you're not going to be able to catch on to how I'm going to build off of this. You need to create a language for yourself of who you are. And if you haven't done that systematically, pragmatically, this book is an excellent way to do it. For the next 24 hours, the ebook is free. But after that, it's going to be $2.99. The handbook is $8.88. But the price of what you can gather if you put the energy to it is priceless. To know who you are from an astrological perspective using your own words. I couldn't put a price on what you could gain from that. So, with that being said, I just want to advise everybody to click the link in the description. If you can't afford it, please get the free ebook, because it's not about money at the end of the day. If you can't afford the $2.99 Kindle ebook, post these 24 hours, be sure to email me. I will send it to you free of charge. The idea is for you to learn your charts. It's not for me to make money, but you know, this is an energetic thing, so it wouldn't be right if it wasn't put out there in such a way. So I just really thank you guys for vibing with me, giving me the support, and giving me the understanding of what I should do in the future to better myself and to really help you guys out. And so I'm really working towards that. And also, one more thing, if you do get the free ebook, please leave a review, because that is going to help me create more value to this content, the reviews. So even if you don't buy a book, you know, if you like me at all, go to Amazon.com, click this link and give a review. I really appreciate you guys for listening. I said this would be a 30-minute video. We're at 27 minutes, so we got 3 minutes to spare. So you guys enjoy your day, and share the word. Share this video, like, subscribe to my channel, because we're growing, and we're growing in a real way. Peace.